Most of the times, it feels like there's a casting director and we're an actor trying to try out for a part. So we are auditioning. But once you understand how to play the game and you believe in yourself and your worth, that you believe that you, what Blair Enns would say is you are the prize, which means that you have more ways of making money than they have options for solutions. And if you bring something quite unique to the table, then you're not just auditioning, you're auditing. So I'm auditing you right now. So we would ask them, how many people are bidding on this job? How many times have you done? We would ask them weird questions. They're like, whoa, we didn't know we were going to be put on the spot. We'd ask them, how are you making decisions on who you award the job to? What parameters are you considering? What is set in stone? What is a variable you want us to play with? What is a nice to have? What is a have to have? And some people would get all bent out of shape. And then we'd get off the call and I'd say, we're not working with them. We're not going to proceed. Get out of the job. Make up a reason. Because I just don't feel like this is a person we can do good work for. Or they've already made up their mind. Or they're indecisive, they're unclear. Or a lot of different things. So you kind of think about it as, for a very short period, we are trying to project into the future, what's it going to be like to work with you? And if we throw off bad energy, you're going to say, like, I don't care how good they are, we're not working together. And the same with us. It's like, I don't care how much money's on the table, we're not working together. And we don't exercise that right or that thought process as often as we should as creative people. So we've bowed out of many jobs before because, you know what, this is a bad gig, we're out.
So part of that discovery call is you interviewing them to see if they're a good fit for you.
Absolutely.
And do you think most creatives, even just as they're just first getting started, have the ability to do that?
Everybody has the ability to do that, but I wouldn't even rule out just getting started. I don't think most creative entrepreneurs do that. They feel beholden to the client. They worship the mighty dollar, and they think unfortunately, with their scarcity lack mindset, that if they don't get this gig at all costs, no new opportunities will come. I'm patient, and I believe in myself that something else better is going to come.
Guys, we've been so passionate about finding the biggest geniuses, and this is just one of the many episodes. If you want to make sure you don't miss the next one, make sure to subscribe. All right, let's get back to the episode. I saw a short you did about anchoring, and it got me thinking, should you even be asking clients what their budget is, or do you just lead with your number? Like, what's the play in 2026?
There's so many different ways to do this. If you're asking me personally, I just tell people at the first interaction, which is a DM, how much money do you have? We get into the money conversation right away, okay? So somebody has sent me a message saying, Chris, I've been told you are the person to help me with my personal brand. I want to work with you. What's that like? I said, before I get into any details, let me tell you, I have two prices. Price number one is I do the brand strategy for you. I do deliverables. It's going to be $50,000. Price number two, I do the exact same thing, except for it's $100,000. And then I write, what's the difference between price one and price two? Is price one is you just do what I tell you to do. Price number two is you tell me what you want to do. Which one works for you? I just tell people, because I don't have time for that. This is now what I've discovered is, if you're willing to pay me $100,000, I'll put up with your nonsense. And the thing, and people are going to hear this like, what is wrong with this guy? He's so full of himself. Well, I believe in what I do. I believe I have a unique perspective on things. And if you'd like to work with me, I'd love to work with you. But it's one of these things where, like, you're the aspiring tennis athlete and I'm the tennis coach. So please don't hire me to tell me how to coach you, because you already know the answer then. You don't need me. And if you want to pay me to babysit you through this process, I'm happy to do that for double the price. And so there are people who know this. Like, I want to try and say this objectively so it doesn't sound so terrible, but I've done the training, I've done the 10,000 plus hours over 2 decades, won multiple awards, judged shows. I think I know what I'm doing when it comes to design and aesthetics. I think I know more about it than you do. So when people come to me and it's like, well, I don't like those colors and I don't like this and shouldn't we do that and can we explore that? I'm like, okay, so why are we talking, friend?
Do you get that often? It seems like when you're the expert at what you do, you're in the 0.1% of what you do. X client comes to you, they're not 99 out of 100 times in that same position, and they're like telling you to change colors on a logo, telling you to, I mean, is that common?
It is common. And the reason why it's common is because we think we can see something. We over-index on our confidence that because we know two things about it, like we know what we're doing. Now, I respect each person's business. I would not tell you how to run your business. I would not impose something on you. When you tell me there's a business case for this to happen, I would not do that because I don't know your business that well. But when it comes to things like, oh, that aesthetic isn't right, and well, so you basically want more of the same, which is fine. Here's the example. A while ago, I think there's also another telecom company. They paid us the most we've ever been paid to do strategy work. I think they paid us over 100 grand. Maybe it was 120. And they also paid us like $100,000 to do the logo. The logo objectively is 5% different than their current logo.
Just 5% different?
Yeah. We explored all these things. We went down so many different rounds and revisions and tried different concepts, mock-ups. All of it was great. And the one they picked was just like 5% different from the one they already had. And I respect that because they paid us almost $250,000. I'm good with that. That's what you want to do? Totally fine. But when you're paying me 50 grand and you're telling me this, I don't know if I want to do that. Not really that interested.
So you gave them concepts that were a little different from what they had.
We explored everything.
Yeah, and they just kind of kept narrowing it down back to something very, very similar to what they already had, because that's probably what they were just comfortable with.
Yeah, and it's human nature. Change is hard for us in every different way. If you move to another city, go to a new school, if you try on different shoes you've never worn before, or if you cut your hair differently, change is very difficult for us because of inertia. And I understand that. So I like to work with clients who are clear thinkers. They make decisions like they're concise and clear. They're decisive. And they have really discerning tastes. They know good from bad. And they're also smart enough to know what they don't know, and they get out of their own way.
But is that rare?
It is rare-ish, but if you put the energy out into the world, you will find exactly those people. Because literally people have come up to me after a conference when I'm speaking. They're like, I need to hire you to do my fashion. I'm like, I'm not available. Like, I will pay you. I'm like, it doesn't matter. They're like, well, I'll do what you say. I'm like, okay, those are the magic words now.
Right.
It's all positioning at this point.
Right. But when you're first starting, that might be a little bit more difficult for someone who just financially, like, I need this job. I'm not going to put myself in that position where they're going to say no because I want to charge double because I don't want to hear any nonsense from them. So it might be a little harder for someone just getting started. But that's the goal, is get yourself, your skill and your confidence to where you can say no to a client.
Well, let me say this, Will. I'm going to try and flip this on you, okay? Because you've said many times, is the audience mostly just getting started?
Both, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, entrepreneurs.
Let me tell you this thing, and maybe this will be a moment that will change it for a lot of people. When we're first starting, we're not sure about ourselves, and so we ask for less money. And then we do the work, and sometimes we feel quite bitter doing the work, like I'm worth more, but I resent not asking for more. And then I do okay in the job, and I'm kind of bitter, and some of that rubs off in the client interaction. So they might get a good product from you, but they don't get a great feeling because you're not willing to go above and beyond. You're not literally thanking them and filled with gratitude because you undercharge for the work. That's your fault, by the way. And so now you have in your mind, like, I can charge this amount. And then that client tells two other people, which means you've done a good job. And they say, you should hire Billy. You should hire Jenny. They can do it for this amount. And so what you do is you get more of this low price work. You're not attracting the kinds of people. So it furthers this narrative in your brain, like, maybe I'm not worth that much. And so what happens is you begin this journey, and it's called the vicious cycle. Imagine a vortex and you're just going down the drain. I don't know if I'm worth much, so I don't charge much. So then I confirm that I'm not worth much, and then I don't charge much, and you just keep going down and down. And this happens at the beginning. So what if we just flip the narrative? Like, you got a little sprinkle of what it is I'm putting out into the world. I was just starting too, but I believed in myself. I worked really hard in school, and I did way more than what many of my classmates did in terms of output. And I knew I was good. So my first opportunity, I just charged more. I didn't have the experience or the confidence or the belief that it could work. I just tried it first, and they're both based on belief. So instead of asking for less, which was scenario A, I asked for more. And so people paid me more. So then I told myself I must be worth more. So let me try that again, and you just do it again. So this time it's the same vortex, except for we're going from the bottom and we're going up and up. That's called the virtuous cycle. So you just have to ask yourself, when is the most important time to make this decision? When you're old and gray, when you're like a grizzly 10-year veteran into this? Does that ever happen? I don't think so. It happens right at the beginning. You can choose what is harder. Is it harder to ask for more and get everything you want and build up yourself? Or is it harder to ask for less and then to spiral into the darkness and then be bitter about what it is that you're doing? I think it's much more difficult to ask for less than it is to ask for more.
And it seems like that self-confidence and that self-belief was big. Where did that come from for you?
Repetition, putting in the work. Nothing builds confidence like looking at a problem 1,000 times. You just keep doing the work. Now, this is where that line comes in. Perfect practice makes perfect, not practice makes perfect. So having a guide, a mentor, instructor, a coach, something where you can practice perfectly, that will build the confidence.
So it's about the reps, putting in the reps.
Putting in the reps under the right direction. Because if you dig a hole and you're not in the right spot, you will never strike gold.
Was there a call where you walked away and you were sure you understood the client and then you were dead wrong? And if
so many.
And what did you miss? And then what did you find out?
I would consider the first 3 years, maybe 4 years of running the business, it was just a lot of luck and randomness. And we were beneficiaries of high demand, low supply. There weren't a lot of people in the world that could do what we were doing. And so I could survive based on numbers because there's just more opportunities. I could mess up a lot, and I did mess up a lot. Had I known then, had I known what I knew now back then from day one, I would be sitting on millions and millions of dollars because we've lost so many projects. We lost a project to Nissan, to Sun Microsystems. We didn't lose a project to them. We lost a project for Nissan, for Sun Microsystems. The list goes on. Janus Funds, just job after job, hundreds of thousands of dollars, year one out of school, because I didn't know how to play the game. I didn't know how to conduct a conference call, a new business call. I didn't know how to ask the right questions. And so there are many cringy things that I did. I'm like, what are you thinking, you idiot? And I was desperate. So if you can imagine being invited to a party but not being let in time and time again, you become depressed. You start to think, I'm not cut out for this world. And so I asked for help, and I got really bad advice. So that did even more damage. And then eventually I found the right person to help me, and we started to do great things.
Was that a mentor, a business partner? Who was that?
A business coach.
So first you started trying to find help, and you got pointed in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You kept going on down the wrong vortex.
Well, you would have enough success to keep you going. And so the thing that I encourage people is when you're young, this is the time to do it because your overhead's really low. You don't have any commitments. You don't have a partner. You don't have a family. You don't have a mortgage yet. So why not take the risk then? So people tell themselves a really great story. It's a lie. In the word belief is the word lie. So you believe that when it happens, you'll take more risk. But what happens is 10 years later, you've got commitments, you've got car payments, you have insurance, maybe you have a little one running around the house. And now it's like, when are you going to take a chance? There's a book by Paul Arden. It says, whatever you think the opposite. And in that book, he says, risky is safe, safe is risky. To play it safe is the riskiest thing that you can do. And that's what you're doing.
That's what most people do, just play it safe.
Everybody plays it safe. And I always have to check myself. We're playing it safe. Let's change it up. So let's go for a moonshot.
And what's a signal on a call that you used to trust as proof you nailed it that you now know is a trap?
I think you mistake general enthusiasm and people being cordial and amiable on the call as like you're going to get the job. I don't believe that because now I've learned that there are a lot of false positives. And you learn that through experience and through coaching and guidance. So
a lot of that coaching, it seems that elevated you to the next level was that on coaching for that discovery call, or coaching on how you're interacting with clients, maybe the proposal itself.
Just a discovery call.
Discovery call.
Yeah.
That's it. If you can nail the discovery call, they'll see the value and they'll want to work with you, even if your price is double your competitors.
Yeah. My goal is to be the most expensive bid and for you to want to work with me and be happy about it. Anybody can win the project being the lowest bid. The challenge is being the highest bid. And I've created uncomfortable situations for my team, and they were always wrong. I'll give you 2 examples. In the line of work that we were doing for commercials, if the clients changed the scope, you ask for an overage. And my producer at that time came in and was like, what should we ask for? I've done the numbers. It's my time, this person's time, and they're just calculating time. And so let's say they're like, it's $1,200. I'm like, that's embarrassing. It's a $180,000 job. You're going to ask for another $1,000, $1,200. I think we're nickel and diming people at this point. So if you're going to ask for a number, ask for a real number. He goes, how much should I ask for? $5,000, $10,000, something like that. He goes, how would I justify that? You don't. You just tell it to them. And if they have a problem with it, you schedule a call and we'll get on the phone. And he's like, whatever, you're the boss, I'll do it. And then he sends a number. He probably sheepishly sends out the number. And then moments later, the client's approved it. He comes running back to me just giddy. He's like, Chris, they approved him. I'm like, I know how this game works, friend. So I think he learned a valuable lesson. I already knew the lesson then. If you're going to just ask for little bits, don't do that. It's super annoying. We call it nickel and dime. You know, like when you buy a car and like, do you want a floor mat? $45. I'm like, guys, it's a $70,000 car. Don't you think you could just charge it, build it in so you don't nickel and dime me? Include every option that a reasonable person would want. I don't need ceramic brakes, but other than that, like put everything in it and just charge me the right amount. I don't respect you then. It's like, we're not a bazaar. Don't ask for those little things. So that's an example there. Another example is I remember on a call, it's a good client and we're talking to them and they're adding things to the project. So they're like, you know what? We need a keynote animation because our CEO is going to be speaking. There's going to be 500 of us there. It's going to be great. I'm like, cool. They're like, we have $100,000 to do this. I said, okay. And so all my team's smiling. We hang up the phone. They're like, I'll put together the bid. What should I put it? I'm going to put it for $100,000. I'm like, no, you're not. Put it for 118. I'm like, what? Why would we do that? They just told us it's $100,000. We're betraying the trust. I'm like, what trust? You think that literally the person is telling you the exact amount of money they have? I always want to find the ceiling. So they're like, oh, I'll do it. Because they're on the front line talking to the client. They're afraid of the blowback, right? Like, what are you doing? So sure enough, next day, he's like, they're not happy with this. I'm like, get him on the phone. This is pre-Zoom. We're sitting around a conference room table, no video, just talking. Gets on the phone and is like, so guys, we told you we had $100,000. What are you submitting 118 for? And you could tell they're upset. You can hear it in their voice. Like, so here's how things typically work. We submit something, we bid it to the bone, and then you ask for something, or something changes, and then we feel like we bid it to the bone. I'm going to ask you for more money. No project is ever a straight line. There's always these ups and downs. The 2 things I'm trying to prevent is us calling you every single time you want to make a decision, and 2, your reluctance to call us because you want to make a decision that's different. You want to make a change. So I price it in a way that we can do this, and you can ask me for whatever within reason, and we're just going to do it. It's like, okay. I said, look, you tell me what you want to do. You can sign it for 118 or you can sign it for 100, and just be aware when you sign it for 100 and you ask us something, because inevitably something comes up, we'll ask you to go get more money. We're trying to prevent that. He's like, okay. Calms down. They approved for 118. The most beautiful part is they never asked for anything different. They just loved what we did.
They never asked for anything else.
They never asked for anything extra, which is ironic because everybody always asks for extra. So those are 2 stories. I have an infinite number of these stories where this idea about money and relationships and creating, I think, necessary friction in the relationship to test how badly you want to work with us, that's important for me.
So you try to create the friction.
Absolutely.
Because it shows you how far they're going to push and how far you can push and where that middle ground is.
I don't look at it like that. I think there's unnecessary friction and there's necessary friction. Unnecessary friction is you taking 4 days to send a proposal. They call and you don't respond for another 8 hours. That's not being responsive. That's creating friction. You're not clear about what they're getting and what they're paying and what the milestones are. That's unnecessary friction. Necessary friction is, I want to see how strong our relationship's going to be. How bad do you want it? I want to know before I commit to doing this work with you that you want it as much as I want it, because we're going to be partners for the period of time. And I want to just know. So necessary friction is a price point, is asking for a concession. Those are necessary friction. Oh, you really do want to work with us. You're not just triple bidding us right now. This is not a game for you. You're serious right now. And you might say, like in lots of games or coaches, they'll do this. Like, how bad do you want to win, Johnny? You get back off the stool. You go finish round 3 like your life depends on it. And Johnny's like, yes, sir. And they just go in there and they do battle. We want to know.
And what are some of the different ways you create that necessary friction? Maybe other than price.
Other than price and asking for concessions?
Yeah.
Well, let's go. Like, concessions is a big word, right? Like, what does that really mean? Is the due date really the 27th? Because we'd like a little bit more time to work on this. We won't charge you more, but we need more time. Like, the latest we can give you is the 31st. Latest? Well, yeah. Okay. Now, I noticed that you don't pay for like 90 days, net 90. We can't do that. We need the first 50. Okay, we can do that. So those are all concessions. So there's a lot of different things you can ask for to see. That creates friction. Or, I see that you're asking for new ideas. We don't do that. I'll give you an example. Okay. Unbeknownst to me at that time, somebody had recommended us for a gig, one that we were not qualified for. So we got an RFP, a request for proposal, and they had all these specs, and it was a $100,000 budget. They just told us, $100,000, we need to see ideas. It's like a large real estate developer, commercial. And I looked at it, I'm like, we can't do all that they've asked for. And we're definitely not doing free ideas because that's what they've asked for. And they're like, what do you want me to do? My executive producer. I said, well, tell them we can't do everything, but we can do some things, but we don't do free ideas. But I can send together a capabilities deck, which we did. That's what we did. And they're like, they'd like to have a meeting. So I think they invited 7 people to this bidding process because they were looking for a new vendor. We're one of 7. So we go into the meeting and I show them the capabilities deck and I walk them through the ideas. And I can tell we're going to get this gig. And the reason why I know this is because body language and tone. Everybody's relaxed in the face. They're smiling. They're leaning in. Because they're sitting on the opposite end of the table, a table twice as long as this. I'm on this side, monitor, laptop, driving the presentation. And they're on that side. There's 3 or 4 of them, right? I'm trying to figure out who's the boss, like who's making decisions, what's the energy like. And I'm doing what I do. I'm sometimes acerbic, sardonic, and sometimes I'm just charming. I just do whatever I do and I present. And then we get up, and they did ask this, are you going to present to us any ideas? I said, no, I thought we were clear about that. They're like, no, we're just asking. And I said, the reason why we don't present ideas is because our whole philosophy and how we do what we do requires you to be a part of it. I'm not going to make guesses as to what you want or what your customers want, and that's where the real insights come from. They're like, okay, it's fine. So we get up, and the one lady who brought us in as part of their team is like, that went really well. I'm like, okay, you just buttering me up for a soft landing? I don't know. We get in the car, and they're like, we're going to award the job to you. 6 other people presented ideas. We didn't present any ideas. We still got the job. That is necessary friction. We're going to derail your bidding process by doing it differently, therefore making it impossible for you to compare us to others. And what I did in that meeting was I planted seeds of doubt that every other idea that you're going to see is based on assumptions. I can't work that way. And you shouldn't accept that either.